I just want to start talking about the future of the way that outsourcing is going and address that in terms of, first of all, to Jarno, to what extent do you think the market is shifting from a provision of services angle to a strategic partnership angle? So how important is it for associations to get input into that strategic side and management of that strategy?
I think it's one of the key items and the biggest changers in the current marketplace, that from arranging a venue, it's still very important, but as we perceive it internally, as a company, for us, that's more the commodity. That is something we have to do, and we have to do it right, as simple, because it's absolutely key to the success of an event. But once you look at an association in a broader picture, it comes much more to how does the meeting fit into your strategy, in your communication model. There might be some competitors, international, nationally. Well, Finn is a good example. It started European, it's now global. So for other destinations, how do you deal with that? And I think that step from logistics to consultancy into strategic meeting management, that's the key, where a lot of associations can have additional benefits from their partners out there.
And what about the technology side? Because I was talking with Roger Tonder a while ago, the head of MCI, yep, who was saying that a much higher proportion of the revenue of that whole company than any of us really imagine is coming now through provision of production services, technical services, video, hybrid meetings, virtual conferences. Yep. And the traditional side of things is not really adding anything to the bottom line. It's being done almost at break even, yep, just because it happens to be there and it's pure commodity. Is that something that resonates with you?
We see it as well. There is more like the logistics, because it's getting a commodity product in a way. There are many PCOs, there are qualifications within PCOs, AMC. So you see that's the basic, and then generally margins go down. That's what happened to every market in the world, I think. So we see it as well with the additional service, because we are in the middle of the meeting industry. We're in the middle of everything that's happening, that you can add value in different ways, and technology is one of those things that is for every association, because it changed that rapidly, it changed that quickly. It's so difficult to grasp it with a small group, because you have a different focus area. For us, that's one of the main focus areas where we develop ourselves and where we see change, where we can help association implement those kind of elements. So that's really where we're shifting. And again, the implementation is for me the strategic field as what do you want to achieve with it, and how do you want to use it.
Okay. And Finn, you were talking about the critical importance of content management and how you look after the intellectual property of the organization. Are you worried that whether you would give away some of the crown jewels if you were to outsource more strategic input? And are you actually investing internally in your own staffing structures to create stronger, higher level guys who can actually manage all of these more complex assets?
I think our fear is less around giving away intellectual copyright. I think our bigger fear is the distribution thereof, so of the content itself. I mean, if I may just, it's probably known to all of you, but meetings generally, like our Congress 10 years ago, 15 years ago, would have been attracting 2,500 people. Nowadays it attracts somewhere between 1,100 and 1,500. Partner programs have largely died out. The conferences that we run that are quite industry specific have dropped in numbers to about half. But if we put it on live stream, or if we ensure that the content can be distributed thereafter, you'll find that the uptake is by a factor of 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the distribution of the content, I think we will still retain the copyright, but the distribution of the format in which the distribution is, or which the content is distributed, is changing. And I know we spoke about it a little bit about 6 months ago. We have found that the live stream and a subsequent video on demand library has proven wildly successful to allow people to get access to it. And we made a big mistake, by the way, initially. We concentrated all of our energies on getting the live stream itself, the physical live viewing. But of course, we found out that if we're hosting a conference in Jakarta, it's unlikely that people in Houston, Texas are going to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning, or indeed watching the conference for 2.5 days on their computer screen. You know, oh God, I have to watch the conference. It doesn't work that way. Whereas it's the video on demand afterwards that has proven to be, if you like, the oh gosh moment for us.
But the key partners that you are working with in terms of delivering this and the outsourcing, those are not traditional meeting suppliers.
Not at all.
Not at all. And I think, do you anticipate that you're going to end up working with more non-conference people on issues? Because content management, traditionally in our industry, is seen as something that comes from the live event, and therefore the live event suppliers are the ones to provide it. But what you're saying now is that actually the model is going the other way around, that you're looking at communication specialists, technology companies, people who may not actually have live event expertise at all. Is that fair?
Yes, I think yes, that is a fair point. For example, the supplier that we're currently working with in getting that live stream, and so if you bear in mind that most presentations will have somebody on a podium saying something along with slides, getting a system which will allow you to either fast forward or move back in time of both the video and the presentation slides is not always easy to find. And to find a system that can be embedded very simply into your own website becomes even more challenging. So we currently work with a company that actually supplies universities. And it is they who have these systems that allow you considerable flexibility in moving the timeline of the content. And they host the video content for us on their library as well. Because again, they've got thousands of millions of terabytes or gigabytes or whatever it is that can supply.
I think a general message for our members, ICCA members, suppliers around the world generally, is you have to get away from your traditional way of thinking of how you provide your services. I think you also need to be looking very carefully at other potential partners that you can work with who've got complementary skills, who may not be coming from the live meeting side, but you can plug into their services. And I'm sure, Jarno, you do a lot of project management of different suppliers. So although the client is just dealing with you, you're the gateway to all these others.
And not only that, it's also for us finding strategic partnerships with suppliers that are already there. We had yesterday quite an interesting discussion with Yvonne from the RAI, that they have big marketing teams because they market. They have a direct influence in attracting as many delegates as possible, the same as the association and we have in those kind of events. So creating those kind of teams that work jointly together instead of, oh, I'm supplier A, I'm supplier B, and I'm supplier C. Because I think then you're lost. If you think that you can do it on your own, I think then...
You raise another interesting point there, and that is that traditionally in the business, we've thought of the primary providers of outsourced services as being the PCOs or the association management companies. But you mentioned the RAI. There are a lot of venues out there who've got expertise in all kinds of areas who are increasingly thinking, hey, we can be the strategic partners for the associations. It doesn't need to be delivered by a PCO. So there's quite a trend in the industry now of big-scale venues with very strong, especially technical and technological skill sets within their offering, trying to become a project manager for a much wider range of the services than the association clients are used to dealing with through venues. Everything from hotel management systems to registration systems to exhibition services to all the technology provision that allows the management and the distribution channels of the live content. So increasingly, I think there's going to be a lot of competition between PCOs and venues coming up.
How will you inspire the minds of many? Will you provide new perspective that will allow others to see? a world full of opportunities? Will you create a voice that captures the imagination of a kingdom? Will you share a welcoming smile that has others feel like royalty? Will you bring the world together via the speed of sound or the hush of a jungle? Will a rich culture and the arts become the fabric of your attendees? Will you stimulate their senses with cuisine envied by the world? Will you forever change the definition of a meeting room and inspire creativity in the beauty of silence? Will you redefine the meaning of work-life balance and create a venue that will have attendees feeling forever connected? Create the moments that inspire the minds of many. Connect people, inspire the world. Thailand.